Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality where we apply the principles of philosophy, spirituality, mysticism, and business to rapid lifestyle transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Magic Monday, and by the time you finish this video, we will have gotten through Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Feel that great feeling of freedom approaching, especially if you're working a job. We're having you feel the feelings of days so that you can get a vibrational sense of them. We're going to be using those in this process. We are full speed ahead in this process of strategic planning. It's a very exciting process. It's one that I look forward to guiding you into. We're almost there at October 3rd, where we're going to begin the first stages of this, the iterative process, the research and testing phase, where we can actually test ideas for certain streams of income. We're going to give you a lot of tricks of the trade. We're going to give you a lot of concrete information there, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little news, The Real Javier Novoa is going on the road, and we're going to be starting this process from beautiful Galveston, Texas. We're going to be having great videos from there. We're going to be enjoying the natural landscapes and the beaches and so on and so forth. We're going to be retreating, ladies and gentlemen, which brings me into the first topic of this video. I just wanted to touch on two very important topics that are going to help you in this planning process. The process that we're doing now, which is basically planning the plan, meta planning, and also the processes later of testing and so forth and so forth and so on and so forth. It's going to carry you to that finish line. That is this, ladies and gentlemen: energy regeneration and discipline and focus. And I want to tackle those one by one here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can get, just in the course of our daily lives, depleted. And Vadim Zeland talks about this in Reality Transurfing as one of the principal reasons for not manifesting and for just general bad feeling. In fact, all of the diseases in the body, as Chinese and Eastern medicine know well, are caused by a, shall we say, dissonance in energy, so to speak, or a deficit, shall we say, in energy. So it's very important to retreat, ladies and gentlemen, when one can. I remember the great book by Harry Brown called How to Sell Anything. And it's just one of the best books written on selling. In fact, it's a book that I read probably over 12 years ago in my early to mid-20s. And it's one that basically catapulted me into the quote-unquote career that I'm in now, which is selling in the pharmaceutical industry. It's a great book, and I cannot recommend more highly that you read it. Perhaps we'll do a video on that book called How to Sell Anything. But in that book, he talks about the fact that many salesmen were of the mind that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And the great Harry Brown said, no, when the going gets tough, I take a vacation. And he was able to outperform all of them. Why? Because it's always, from the tortoise and the hare, it's the one who goes slowly and steadily who wins the race. It's the one who's in most energetic balance. So always take those periods off when you can. As the great Joel Goldsmith said, again, when things get tough, you rest. And of course now, I'm not always saying take a vacation, because there are many of you that can't take a vacation. There are many people who don't have the resources right now. You will for sure within a year, if you watch this channel, if you go through the videos that we're doing, we will get you there to where you're off the prison grid within a year. By the way, the prison grid does not want you to know this, ladies and gentlemen. The prison grid does not want you to rest, because then it will not be able to feed off your negative energy. The prison grid wants you to continue and continue, your mind to move in circles, and that's why there's so much against this being in presence. That's why there's so much against you meditating. That's why there's so much against you getting into state. But Marcus Aurelius talked about the fact that I love going to the seashores and the mountainsides and so on and so forth, and I do, and we're going next week. I love it. But this is the mark of the lowest type of philosophical man. The true philosopher, and I'm paraphrasing here, retreats within himself. And he can do that at any time of the day. You can basically go within, and when things start getting tough, ladies and gentlemen, retreat within yourself. Now, the best way to do this, the best way to get your energy straight, so to speak, is to start first thing in the morning. And we always recommend with Abraham Hicks, with Joe Dispenza, that if you can, you meditate first thing in the morning for at least 15 to 30 minutes until your mind is clear. There are many methodologies out there. We can teach you a methodology, but just look up on the internet. There are so many different modalities for meditation. The important thing is that you get started and do it, ladies and gentlemen, because it might take a little while for you to wash away the junk from yesterday that you started thinking about the moment you woke up. Of course, when you sleep, as Abraham Hicks talks about, the slate is cleaned, ladies and gentlemen, so your energy is now, you're back into pure, positive, neutral energy. But when you wake up, oftentimes we get back on the very same vibration. So the best thing to do in that case is to meditate, ladies and gentlemen. I did in a very early video on this channel. In fact, in the first video, talked about that meditation is the most important advice that I could give to a person of business. I'd watch that video, and by the way, if you're new to this channel, please enjoy the videos, of which we have over 300 and something now. Binge watch them, enjoy them. They're all very inspiring, and they're all videos that are going to help you get across the finish line. This channel is not simply about empty philosophical speculation. It's about getting you across the finish line. But meditate in the morning, ladies and gentlemen. The second thing is that renew your mind often and do it 100 times a day. It's the great, not literally 100 times, but do it as many times as you need to. The great Joel Goldsmith said, meditate 100 times a day. And the very simple way for this is just to get into alpha. And you can drop there no matter how you're feeling. You can drop into that alpha state at any time that you wish. And it's very easy to drop into these daily meditations, like we said, no matter how you feel, ladies and gentlemen. You'll just want to look up into the horizon. You'll do this, basically the easiest method is from the Silva method, which is this. You look up into the horizon. You can close your eyes. And you can say, at the count of 3, I'm going to be in complete alpha waves. 1, 2, my body's just going into complete alpha and it just feels completely at peace. 3, I am now in alpha. And my heart is completely receptive, just like the biblical and Quranic analogies of the heart being like the soil where all the seeds take root and grow. That's where my heart is right now. And you know what? I already am free. I'm in complete freedom, complete joy right now. There's nothing I need to do because I'm already there. And just envision that just for a second. And then when I count back to 5, I'm going to be in a completely normal and peaceful state of consciousness, feeling better than I felt before. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel completely at peace and back in my normal surroundings. 5. And just doing that, ladies and gentlemen, that took less than a minute, and I already feel endorphins traveling through my body. This is how you get energetically in tune, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, this is not about force, because as we've said in other videos, what you feel doesn't matter. But the reason why we want you to do this is because, remember, everything that you want already exists. And there's nothing that you have to do to get there. You can get there anytime you want. But in order for that gap to be traversed in 3D reality, ladies and gentlemen, you have to get in vibrational connection, so to speak, or in vibrational attunement, resonance with what you want. And it just goes from common sense that if you're feeling good, you're on the vibration that you want. If you're not feeling good, then you're not on the vibration that you want. And so this is where the great teachings of Bashar come in. Where Bashar just says, follow your highest excitement. And remember, you don't do any of these things with the aim of attaining your end, because you've already attained your end. And if you're trying directly to attain your end, what Vadim Zeland calls inner consciousness, or like the direct method, then you're implying that you don't already have it. And you're putting yourself on a film roll where you're trying to get there and you don't have it. So what you do is you take the indirect method. And the indirect method is to just enjoy the process for the sake of the process, while having it in the back of your mind still that you're practicing that process to get there, but not completely explicating it. That's a little trick of the trade here, a trick of manifestation. So what you do is you do this process for the joy of it. And Bashar says, follow your highest excitement. And every moment ask yourself, what's my highest excitement? That could be actually going and doing a task that you know will get you just a tiny step closer to where you want to be. This strategic planning is going to be one of those. You're going to be excited to sit down for these strategic planning sessions, especially as we go into the actual hands in the clay practice and iteration phases that we're going to be starting this week. But you want to go ask yourself, what's your highest excitement? Now, for many of you, many times when you dip on that emotional scale, your highest excitement is going to be that least sucky feeling, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not always excitement. It's about moving up just one rung or half a rung on the emotional scale. And this is where Abraham Hicks comes into her own. If you look up the emotional scale of Abraham Hicks. So there's a scale with despair at the bottom and joy at the top. And your job is to get to the part of that scale that's just a little bit above where you are now. So if you're in despair and depression, ladies and gentlemen, your highest excitement right now is going to be anger and rage, because that's a little bit above that. And then you can talk yourself into anger and rage. Well, who did this and who can I blame, and so on and so forth. It's a lot higher than self-blame that you're indulging in now. Then the next step up from that, maybe you can get to hate. Well, I hate these people, and so on and so forth. Then from hate, then another step up from that would be worry. I'm so worried about what's going to happen. You stay there for a little while. Then from worry, you can get to overwhelm. Well, there's so many things to do. That's much higher place on the emotional scale than worry. Then from there, ladies and gentlemen, you can get to irritation and pessimism. And that takes us to another pivot in all this material, because pessimism is the best place that you can be on the lower part of the emotional scale. Why? Because pessimism allows you to segue into stoicism, and it allows you to see the world for what it really is. So, for example, pessimism is, well, I'm now irritated, by the way, that's before pessimism, that I can't get, let's say, this job. Let's just give the example. Then you get to pessimism, you say, well, life sucks anyway. Well, things just are always like this in life. Things are just generally, hard to get, and so on and so forth. But make sure by your knowledge of this material, you do this with one caveat. Say, on this film roll. So you can say, life generally sucks on this film roll. It's hard to get things anyway on this film roll. And by doing that, you're automatically reminding yourself of what you know, that there are other film rolls in which this is not the case, and which is very easy to get there, ladies and gentlemen. And you're about to get there just by taking that vibrational jump. And by the way, this moving up the scale is a beautiful experience, and we will do a video taking you step by step on how to do that. But later in this planning process is going to come in very handy, especially for changing beliefs, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we'll want to change beliefs. You don't have to, but sometimes it's a good route to go. And changing belief is nothing more than changing the vibrational quality of your thoughts around a topic. Let me repeat that to you. Changing a belief is nothing more, nothing less than changing the vibrational quality of your thoughts around a topic. So, you're doing this by going up the emotional scale. You're doing this now in the general way. But, so as you go through pessimism, you want to nudge your way up to stoicism. Remember, stoicism is a very important part of our modality. Stoicism, minimalism, and law of attraction, law of assumption. Those three elements are going to take you across the finish line and are going to deliver you a power punch, and I promise are going to get you wherever you want to be quicker than you thought possible, ladies and gentlemen. Usually within weeks to months we see this. We're giving you a year so that you give yourself that psychological space so that you can say, well, there's nothing I have to worry about because I have a year, and just take it step by step. But I promise you, most of you will get there well before that. Stoicism is a great part of this. Why? Because it allows you to see the reality that you're living now for what it is, without having to change that reality, without having to improve it, and to change your vibration within that reality, which gets you to another reality. Let me repeat that to you again. The reason why Stoicism is so powerful is because its reality allows you to be in the suckiest of realities, whatever reality you're in, and it allows you to look at that objectively, and by doing that, through applying certain truths, it allows you to change your vibration and be completely happy within that reality, thus changing your reality. I hope you follow me just a little bit. So you can start saying things like, well, as Marcus Aurelius said, everything is perishable anyway, and pretty soon they will all be dead and I will be dead and no one will remember this. That can be a comforting thought, especially when you're in lower vibrations. You can say things like, well, everything on the physical is just that, physical, and it cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my intellect. My intellect is pure and unsullied, and I can imagine anything that I want. And you can go into Neville then. After all, Neville teaches us, and I know this even from experience, that imagination is the Christ. And nothing can stop me from imagining, even if I'm feeling horrible. I can imagine right now. I can be there right now just by using that faculty. And that is the intellect of the Stoics. And it is like a sphere, as Marcus Aurelius said. Nothing can touch it from the outside. It's completely unsullied. Hey, this is beautiful. It doesn't make a damn what's happening on the outside of me, because I can choose to focus on anything that I want right now, and I can just have that now. I don't even have to try to bring it about. I don't even have to apply any other processes. And you see, from there, you can go straight into joy and happiness. You can go straight into optimism, and you don't even have to think about the topic that you're trying to get manifested. You don't have to try to manifest it. It will come of its own accord, and then you'll start getting in the zone and you'll start getting inspiration. I hope you understand me just a little bit. Now, from there, ladies and gentlemen, from that high place in the scale, you apply discipline. And this is not the discipline of force. This is the discipline of doing something every day to follow your highest excitement and to focus intently upon what it is that you want to create, and to give frequency to that. As Neville Goddard said, it's not about the intensity in the beginning, it's about how many times you return to that. Have the discipline to keep returning to that. And that's what we teach in this channel. We teach focus. I am a coach in mental focus. Focus, focus, focus. And it's this modality of strategic planning that's going to help you focus, that's going to help you get across the finish line. Ladies and gentlemen, balance your energy. Increase your energy. Make sure you start in the morning with good energy, and make sure that when you go down that energetic scale, you move yourself back up with the simple techniques that we teach in this channel. It is very important. You don't have to do it, and once you start approaching this as another task that you have to do, then it'll break down, because trying to feel good is a negative experience. But gently guide yourself into higher vibration. This is a secret that the prison grid doesn't want you to know, because the prison grid wants you in those lower vibrations. It can more easily control your energy, and it can more easily get what it wants to get out of you. But how to escape that? Get into the higher vibrations, and you start that early in the morning. Focus and discipline, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks for watching, guys. Tomorrow we're going back into the nitty-gritty of strategic planning. Thanks for watching my channel. Thanks for sharing the videos, guys, and thanks for taking this journey with me. Until very soon, this is Javier saying good night with much love and appreciation. We'll see you tomorrow.